your hat. Ooh, not sure what you wanna where to go. Well, there's one place that you need to know. SVG is the place for me, where you get superior value guaranteed.
All right, we're here at location SVG Chevrolet, and today we're going to show you the difference between leasing and buying, and we're going to do a wipe on board and demonstrate the benefits of leasing and why a lot of our customers are taking advantage of leasing. And actually, we're going to go out on the lot and we're going to show you cars like this Chevy Camaro. We're going to show you, here's what the buy payment would be, here's a lease payment, show you exactly what the difference is, and on that whiteboard we're going to give you a little lesson on some of the benefits of leasing and some of the objections that most customers are saying why they wouldn't consider leasing. So stay tuned. This is going to be a great episode. You're going to see a lot of great information. All right now at SVG Chevrolet, you can lease a new Silverado four-wheel drive double cab for $359 a month with little to no money down. That's right, only in Greenville. Now that's a great commercial. You've seen commercials like that all the time from dealers that are talking about leasing. Well, I'm Steve Van Gorder, president of SVG Chevrolet and SVG Motors, and I want to define, explain leasing, because these deals that come on television, you need to pay attention because they're not always available, and when they come out with a great lease, it's time to take action if you're looking for a new vehicle. So let's explain leasing. Where do I start? Well, I'll tell you. In my opinion, there's three reasons why a lot of people, the three main reasons that I see why people think leasing isn't right for them. Number one, the objections to lease. Number one, most people say, I never own. You never own the vehicle. Well, that's true. But those of you that are buying these vehicles and you're trading every couple 2 or 3 years, you never own the vehicle either. Yes, you bought the vehicle, but I'll challenge you this. Don't make 3 payments on that vehicle and you'll find out real quick who owns that vehicle. Yeah, that's right. The bank owns the vehicle. Until you pay that vehicle off, the bank owns the vehicle. So owning the vehicle really isn't all that it's cracked out to being. Number two, second reason why a lot of people talk about not wanting to lease, they drive too many miles. Well, let me speak to that. If you bought a vehicle and the typical person in Ohio drives around 15,000 miles a year. So suppose you drive 20,000 miles a year. Well, if the average Joe drives a vehicle 3 years and he does 15,000 miles a year, he brings that vehicle back with 45,000 miles when he's ready to trade it in. And then the guy that's driving 20,000 miles a year, he brings his in after 3 years and his car has 60,000 miles. So I'll ask you this, which vehicle, same year, same make, same model vehicle, which vehicle is worth more? The one with 45,000 miles or the one with 60,000 miles? Well, obviously, the one with 45,000 miles is worth more money. So, when you trade a vehicle in that's got 60,000 miles, the value of that trade-in is a little bit less. Okay, so it's no different. What you need to do is plan ahead. So if you know about how many miles you're driving, you plan your lease for that. In almost every scenario, you will save thousands by leasing rather than buying. And the number 3 reason, and in my opinion, it is the biggest reason. I'll say to somebody, hey, let me show you what you can lease this vehicle for. And right away they go, no way, not me, I don't lease, and I ask them why. And then I get that look, I just don't lease. Well, but why don't you lease? And they just don't understand leasing. And that's what it is. They just don't understand. And I'm gonna guess that the vast majority of the people that don't lease, the reason why they don't is because they don't fully understand what leasing is about. And that's why I felt imperative that it was time to share with you what is leasing, Why is leasing, in my opinion, the best way to own a vehicle or to drive a vehicle? I say own a vehicle, but it's the best way to drive a vehicle for the least amount of money out of your pocket. Okay, so were you paying attention to that lease stuff? Good stuff. It is good stuff, and I think if you're looking for a new car, you should be considering leasing, but we're gonna give you a break on that. So we're gonna throw some new stuff at you. Check out this next segment, and we'll get back to the leasing very soon. All right, I'm out here on the lot. It's been a rainy day, and this summer's been rainy the whole time, but I wanna talk about leasing, and we talked about some numbers on the screen, but here's the deal. Let's put those numbers to the test, okay? Because right now, GM has 0% financing for 72 months. Come on, let's take a look at what that equates to. All right, one of the best leases we have. Check this vehicle out. This is a 2015 Chevrolet Traverse. Okay, it's a 1LT. I've got the invoice right here. Okay, so here's the deal. If you were to buy this vehicle at invoice price, okay, which is a significant discount, and you took advantage of the 0% financing for 72 months, you have a payment of $514 a month. That's with zero down. $514 for 72 months. To lease this same vehicle, you're at $398. Okay, so that's over $100 a month in savings. You know, and here's the deal. If you were to have bought this, what do you have after 3 years? I'll tell you what you have, 3 more years of payments. At the end of the lease, you owe nothing, and you go into another lease, or you know, you've got all those options. Something serious to consider. Check out the Chevy Traverse. And there it is. Lower your payments, not your expectations. Hey, where'd they get that from? That's an SVG quote right there. Now we're going to talk about the Chevy Silverados. We got a whole line of them. We went out and bought a bunch of 2015 Silverados because these things are hot right now, red hot. And guess what? GM is offering 0% financing for 72 months. For example, this is a 4-wheel drive, regular cab Chevy Silverado. This vehicle, sticker price is $34,000. Invoice price is $33,000. You're looking at, to buy this, 0% financing for 72 months, which we all agree is an amazing deal, and it's only going for another 4 days. $487 a month with nothing down. $487 a month with nothing down on that truck. You can lease it for $393, almost $100 savings. Again, great deal. And you're looking at the same kind of deal on any one of these trucks, and the difference is bigger the more expensive the truck is. So take a look at some of these trucks, and again, here's another thing to consider. When you're leasing, when more money down, it drastically changes the payment on a lease because you're only talking about 39 months or 36 months rather than 72 months. So a typical $1,000 payment, down payment on a car loan might drop the payment $18, $20, whereas on a lease it could be $30, $40 less. That's why you're seeing these really low payments on these leases. Let's look at the next vehicle. Okay, how about that segment? Pretty fun stuff, huh? Well, it's time to get back to the leasing, so we're gonna need you to put your thinking caps back on and tune in. So I'm gonna use, since I'm a Chevrolet dealer and one of my favorite vehicles is the 2015 Chevy Silverado. They are awesome, and they're all over the road. You see them everywhere. Well, guess what? A 2015 Silverado, double cab, 4-wheel drive, I can see it in my mind, black with the 22-inch wheels. It's got the seat, this thing's loaded, good looking truck. Well, guess how much that truck is? $45,000. Somewhere in that range, a 2015 loaded Silverado is about $45,000. Well, that's a big price. That's a big price, and it equates to a large monthly payment. But you know what? There's a lot of people who are driving those vehicles today, and I'm gonna give you 2 different scenarios. Let's do it. Over here, this is the lease. And he has a $45,000 Silverado. And over here is the buy. and he's got a $45,000 Silverado. Okay? So, which is the right way to do this? Well, what would a monthly payment be on a $45,000 vehicle? Now, rule of thumb oftentimes is $16 to $20 per thousand, depending on the term and how long you finance. But so on a monthly payment of, what would a monthly payment be to purchase that vehicle at $20 a thousand? You're looking at somewhere between $700 and $900 a month to buy that Silverado. Big payment, but people are doing it every day. To lease that vehicle, I'm going to tell you that you could lease that vehicle for $400 to $550 a month. Depending on miles and term that you do on the lease, these are variables. This is what you're looking at to lease the vehicle and to buy the vehicle. All right, I'm going to simplify this a little bit and just break it down to its simplest term. Let's say that this individual over here is leasing the vehicle and it's $500 a month with no money down. And then this individual over here is paying $750 a month to buy that exact same Silverado. Let's see who's in a better position. Okay, this guy drives this vehicle and he pays $750 a month for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years. And depending on how he goes out, maybe even 6 years of monthly payments at $750 a month. And then this guy over here is paying 1, 2, 3 years, and he's paying $500 a month. Okay, so what's the scenario look like? Well, first of all, what does this guy what does he owe at the end of the lease? That's right, nothing. Assuming that you bring the vehicle back with the base mileage. They allow you 15,000 miles per year. That's the standard lease, 15,000 miles a year. For many people, that's more miles than they need, okay? So for 15,000 miles a year at the end of this lease, if you bring the vehicle back with 45,000 miles and in moderate condition where the vehicle hasn't been beaten up, you owe nothing on the vehicle. Over here, after 3 years, $750 a month after 3 years, you still have 3 more years of $750 per month. How much is that? Well, so $27,000. And here's the situation. This person has paid how much extra? He's paid an additional $250 per month. For what? For the right to say that I own that truck. Well, good for you. You also own $250 more than this guy did, okay? This guy saved $9,000. This person saved $9,000 over the course of 3 years. This guy brings the truck back with 45,000 miles. This guy brings the truck back with 45,000 miles. But yet the argument is, you know what? I've got nothing to show for it. I think you do. I think we've proven you've got plenty to show for it. So if you're interested in selling your car, here's what you do. Go to svgmotors.com, go to Contact Us, send us some information. We need 3 things. Number 1, we need the year, make, model, and miles of the vehicle. Secondly, we need the VIN number. We also need some photos. So take some quick snapshot photos with your phone, shoot it over to us in an email, or better yet, stop in to SVG Motors, come see us. We'd love to see your car. It's a quick and easy, painless process, takes about 10 minutes, and you walk out with a check for your car. All right, we thought we'd give you a little break on the lease talk and go into the next segment. But stay tuned, we're gonna get back to the leasing. And for those of you that have any questions, feel free to email me personally at steve@svgmotors.com. We got it right here on the screen. Shoot me an email with any questions you might have, or if you want more details about particular vehicles. But check out this next segment, we'll get back to the leasing. All right, the Chevy Equinox, in my opinion, one of the hottest smaller utility vehicles, but with the best deal. Okay, here's the deal. A Chevy Equinox 2015, brand new, 0% financing for 72 months on this vehicle. You're talking about $25,000. You're looking at $358 a month. That includes tax and everything. These payments have everything in there. 0% financing with tax included. You're looking at $358 a month for 72 months. On a lease, you're at $293 a month, over $50 a month in savings. And guess what? After 3 years of making payments of $358 a month, guess what you got? 3 more years of $358 a month. All right, this is the 2015 Chevy Malibu. Awesome deal, great gas mileage, nearly 40 miles to the gallon. Okay, here's the deal. Let's look at this one. You're looking at, to buy this vehicle, 0% financing, 72 months, $367 a month. Again, that includes tax. That's what the payment is for 72 months, no interest. What is it to lease it? $295 a month. $295 a month. You're saving almost $70 a month. What are you going to do with $70 a month? I know what I can do with $70 a month. That's a lot of money, okay? And in my opinion, this lease is the best way to do business. You know, you throw $1,000 down, or you got to trade in, or you want to put something on it, you can get payments on this thing under $200 a month. That's the deals that you're seeing on television, and they are sincerely the best deals on the market. Let's go inside and take a look at the Impala and the Chevy Camaro. Both great deals. You know, you've heard of Carfax. Suppose you were in a bad car accident with this vehicle, and one that you were okay, but the vehicle suffered tremendous damage, but not enough damage to total the vehicle out. And you took it to your body shop and they got it repaired and they fixed this vehicle back to new. Well, guess what? That accident report stays with the vehicle. If you own this vehicle and that Carfax is still on that vehicle, when you go to sell it or go to trade it in, they're going to see that. The dealer's going to see it when you go to trade it in, or you may disclose that when you go to sell it. What do you think that's going to do to the value? It's going to hurt the value, because when you go to sell it, they're going to want to know that. Over here, at the end of the lease, it doesn't matter. As long as you got the vehicle fixed and repaired back to factory settings, the vehicle goes back and there's no damage to you. So let's talk a little bit more about what do you have at the end of this lease, okay? So what does it mean? There's 3 terms that I want to share with you that for a lot of people, these are lease terms, lease vocabulary that can be very difficult because people don't understand. They've never heard these terms. Number 1 term that you hear a lot of in leasing is residual. Number 2 term is acquisition fee. And another term that you hear a lot is money factor. And these are terms that are unique to leasing, okay? Residual. Now I'm going to tell you in Steve's layman terms what these mean, okay? In my opinion, they shouldn't call it residual, they should call it trade-in, because that's pretty much what it is. The residual is what the vehicle trade-in value will be at the end of the lease. Acquisition fee is nothing more than a loan fee, or better said, a lease fee. Why they have to use that long term, I don't know. And then money factor is the cost of using the money, or an interest rate. Slightly different because it's figured a little differently, but very similar. And the great thing about leasing is the reason why the lease payments are always so much lower, almost always so much lower, is because the money factor is near zero. The manufacturers, whether it's Chevrolet or Ford or Nissan or whomever, they want you to lease their vehicles because they know that if you get into the lease cycle, you typically will release with that same manufacturer. Don't have to, but that's what they hope for. Okay, so that being said, residual value is the trade-in, acquisition, loan fee, money factor, interest rate. Let's dissect this lease. So, how do they come up with this $500 a month? Where do they come up with that $500? Well, first of all, you can negotiate on a lease just like you negotiate on a buy. You can go into the dealership, make a deal on that lease. But here's what's set in stone: the residual, or the trade-in value. Typically, on a 3-year lease, you see about 50%, okay? So the residual is 50% of MSRP, and that percentage is the same whether you buy the truck in Greenville, Ohio, or you buy it in Austin, Texas, or in Honolulu, Hawaii, because it's set by the manufacturer. Chevrolet says, all right, a 2015 double cab Chevy Silverado the residual is 50%. Well, guess what? The residual on these Silverado trucks is much higher than that. It's closer to 60%. But for the sake of simplicity, I want to explain how this leasing works. So when they say, okay, Silverado double cab truck, 50% of the MSRP. So the trade-in value, or the residual as they like to call it, is $22,500. That is your trade-in value at the end of the lease. So you drive this vehicle, and what you're doing is you're paying the difference between your discounted price down to that residual, the trade-in value. And now we're talking about a lot less money, aren't we? And that's how you're seeing these low payments at $500 a month. Now here's where it gets a little bit fun, okay? The average lease is 15,000 miles per year. But the manufacturers, they say, okay, guess what? We can lower that monthly payment if you don't drive as many miles. If you drive 12,000 miles a year, they may say, okay, the residual isn't 50%, it's 53%. And what does that do to the trade-in value? It raises it. So now it's $25,000. And what does that do to the monthly payment? Because now you're financing a smaller number because the trade-in's higher and where you're selling price is a little bit higher. So the difference is smaller. That's how you get a lower payment. And they've now got leases, what they call ultra low mile leases, where you can go to 10,000 miles a year. And guess what? That raises that residual even higher yet, and does what to the monthly payment? You got it. It lowers the monthly payment. Up next, we're in the showroom here, and this is a 2015 limited production vehicle. This vehicle sticker price is over $44,000. This is a limited production green flash special edition spring edition vehicle. Take a look at it. It's got the Corvette motor loaded, everybody's dream car. This vehicle, 0% financing. If you were to get the 0% financing for this vehicle, you're looking at over $630 a month, including tax. You can buy this thing or lease it for $570 a month. You're saving $50 a month to lease it again. And here's the thing, if you decided you wanted to buy it, you could buy it at the end of the lease. It's still your vehicle. You choose when you want to buy it. Just gives you another option. Next up, in my opinion, the sexiest vehicle on the road. Show them this car. Take a look at this. This is the 2015 Chevy Impala. 4-door, beautiful car, gorgeous car. Okay, a 2015 Chevy Impala, great example. You're looking at over $30,000 vehicle. Buy it, 0% financing, $442 a month. Lease it for $386 a month with nothing down. I mean, it just makes more sense. And then you put a couple thousand down, you get this thing down around $300 a month for a vehicle that's well into the $30,000 range. That's a great monthly payment. Take a look at it. I would be remiss not to tell you about these leases. Consider it. Stop out at SVG Chevrolet and let your salesperson give you an explanation. We'll show you both ways, lease or buy. See you soon. Okay, what about that segment? Pretty cool stuff, huh? Well, it's time to get back to the leasing. I know you're excited, so get your pen and paper out and check out the new leases that we've got going on. Now here's the best part about leasing. At the end of 3 years, you have some options. More options than what you had if you bought it. Remember what I said about that Carfax? You had a bad accident and they got it fixed? Well, you may not want to keep that vehicle. So at the end of the lease, you walk into the Chevrolet dealership and you say, hey Steve, love the truck. It was a beautiful truck. It protected us in a bad accident, but you know what? We don't want it. Here's it back. You can turn it in. Number 2 option. You can say, I love the truck and I don't want to give it back. I'm going to buy it for that residual value, $22,500. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. Can you work me up some payments on that so that I can go ahead and buy this vehicle? You can buy the truck. Number 3. You can say, love the truck, but you know what? There's a new body style out and it is kick. You know what? It is sweet. Good looking truck. Better gas mileage. I want that truck now. Work me up another lease. I want one just like it, but I want the new cool one with all the cool features. This one drives itself. Who knows? You may want to release. Or last, and this is my favorite, and this is what very few people do, is you can sell the truck. You heard me right. So at the end of the lease, as you approach the end of the lease, you know that you've got 3-4 payments left and you only have to pay them $22,500. But as you're flipping through the paper or you're looking online at what the value of 3-year-old trucks with say 40,000 miles, and you're seeing them all selling for $25,000, $26,000, and yet you're about to give this truck back to General Motors for $22,500? No. So what do? You put that truck in the newspaper or online, take about 40 pictures of it, and we can help you do that. And guess what? You put that thing online for $25,000 and you sell the truck and you can pocket the difference. Yes, you can pocket the difference. So in my humble opinion, depending on the vehicle, there are so many great leases out there. And when you see some crazy guy on television going, you could lease this for $199 a month, $299 a month, $350, whatever it is, listen up, because there are great deals coming out. And as a matter of fact, this month we've got some awesome specials. 0% financing for 72 months on almost all new Chevys. That's to buy. Leasing is even better. We've got lease payments on new trucks starting at $350 a month. Chevy Cruze, Chevy Malibu, the new Impala, the Chevy Equinox, Traverse, all great leases. Stop out to SVG Chevrolet, and if you need a better explanation, see me. I can sit down with you one-on-one if you've got any more questions. I'm telling you, in my humble opinion, leasing is the way to go. Come see us at SVG Chevrolet. Well, that wraps up another episode of SVG Motors Weekly. Just want to say thanks from the entire team at SVG Motors, and if you like what you saw in the episode, you can see more at SVG Motors YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel and see a bunch of cool stuff. Also at Facebook, you can like us there and get more content there. So, see you next week right here, SVG Motors Weekly.